Hello, Wolves. This is the April post-board meeting update. Want to take a few minutes to highlight last night's board meeting. We had a great opportunity to get together and enjoy each other, but also work through some important items. A great board meeting. I appreciate all of our board members, especially want to congratulate Perry Phillips and Gordon Weathers for a wonderful election. They did a great job, obviously, bringing in the majority of the votes, and were elected to continue to be on the school board. They're wonderful board members, and so last night the board accepted the certified election results from Stone and Berry County and approved them, and then officially reorganized the board. And really how that all played out is Perry Phillips will continue to be our board president. So we're looking forward to Perry's continued leadership. He has done a great job in serving on the school board. I don't know if I can tell you, I have not during my entire 23 years or however long I've been in this business, I have not seen a board president as engaged as Perry. So I appreciate his desire to continue in that role and to serve our community. Lisa Boyd will continue to be our vice president. We love Lisa and appreciate all of her work. Chanel Lee will continue to be our board secretary, and then Liz Smith will be our board treasurer. Our board delegates, our MSBA board delegate, this is a role that learns and goes to sessions and is engaged with our Missouri School Board Association. Amanda Rogers will continue that role. She does such a good job. We appreciate her. And then the alternate will now be Gordon Weathers. So we appreciate Gordon who's willing to step up and begin to learn that role and to be a backup for Amanda. So we worked through all that and we're excited to move forward. The strategic plan that we reviewed, the goal or belief we reviewed is that we believe basic human needs must be met to maximize learning. That is a hallmark of a good school district, a hallmark of a quality educator, is to ensure that our students' needs are taken care of first and foremost so that they can be ready and be actively engaged. Our board norm is we will not involve ourselves in situations that may come to a board vote. Oftentimes our patrons will want to engage our board members in conversations about something that may come up on the agenda in a board vote, specifically with regards to student discipline, employee matters, and things of that nature. And they have to go through the process as they act as judge and jury, oftentimes in many of those cases. So we talked about that briefly. We have on May 3rd is our Excellence Awards Banquet at the Chateau at 5 p.m. I know we've closed registration for that. Make sure you attend. If you've paid tickets, we're looking forward to a wonderful event to honor our retirees and all of our wonderful employees on May 3rd and the district and all the things we've done. Staff appreciation on May 5th. Your administrator staff will be communicating to you. We will have a lunch. We're going to have a good old lunch offered by Stephen Davenport, one of our bus drivers, who will be barbecuing ribs and burgers, and we'll have that rotation here up by us. We're excited to have another good event and to honor you and appreciate all that our staff does. May 15th is our high school graduation. Seniors, you're there. We're excited for you. Look forward to a wonderful evening on May 15th. And then, May 22nd is the last day of school. It's going to be here in a blink, and then summer school. Want to encourage you parents to continue to engage your kids in preparing for the MAP and EOC testing. These tests are important. They not only give a good pulse on how your kids are performing academically, but they also help us determine how to engage with your kids in terms of what they need to learn and do. And sometimes schedules and other things are based off of how kids are performing on those assessments. So it does matter, and we want your support in making that happen. I updated the board on a few things. Our strategic plan, Vision 2030, is well on its way. Great work is happening. Our action team leaders and all of our action team members are hard at work getting ready to have that strategic plan wrapped up and pinned up and ready to present to the board now in May, the May board meeting. So by then May, we'll have Vision 2030, and this summer we'll get ready to implement year one next year, start working towards year one. The playground, let's talk about the playground. We have the community park playground. I know people are excited and anxious for the playground. Those custom pieces, I'll just back up. Our patrons, we had a group of people that designed our playground. They designed the pieces, what they wanted to look like, the customization. We then took those pieces and went and got sponsorships for many of those items, from the Frisco train to the cave, a variety of things. Patrons have been donating to that. So the custom pieces specifically take a lot more time to prepare, to create. They have to create brand new molds, and then once they get the molds in, they make the pieces, and it's just a process. So having said that, the playground is not getting started as quickly as we would like, but it will begin. We were told, as Jason Reich and I met with the playground architect, that the pieces will be delivered on July 11th. And it'll be about a 3 or 4 week process for playground installation. So while it's not going to be quite ready for this most of the summer, we will have it hopefully by August 1. We'll have that new playground, kind of that crowning jewel in our park. Last night we talked about Portrait of an Educator. As you know, we went through the process this last year to develop Portrait of a Graduate. This is really identifying those competencies that our students need to be engaged in when they leave, that they need to be able to master by the time they leave our high school. And we're going to embed those. We're having a team work together on that and start road mapping that out in June. And then we have a strategic plan, an action step that's actually going to address how do we implement Portrait of a Graduate. To ensure that we are providing world-class learning, and that standard is a standard in all classrooms, that it's not a lottery pick, that we're all performing at high levels. We need to have absolute clarity on what our students and what our standard of excellence is in the classroom, what that needs to look like. And so we actually began having some conversations with our superintendent advisory group center around what it would be like if we established a portrait of an educator, really as a collective district, as a team, identifying what are those critical steps, strategies, actions that need to be taken so that our teachers can be the most effective at what they do. And so that our level of academics continues to raise to that world-class standard. And we believe that it ends with having collective efficacy, that it's all within our control as teachers, as educators, but we need to provide that clarity. And so we got really good positive feedback from the strategic planning or the superintendent advisory group about engaging in that work, about creating a portrait of an educator and really clearly defining what this looks like, and then really layering everything else we're doing, kind of pointing our teachers for that in terms of professional learning, in terms of evaluation and feedback, in terms of the work that our instructional coaches are engaged with our teachers, that we really have a clear picture on that. So we're going to be discussing that more in the coming months. Our central office leadership team will be meeting this week to really kind of start talking through some of the next steps and continue refining that. So more to come on Portrait of an Educator. We had a wonderful board learning session. Our board continues to come together. We talked a little bit briefly about those pieces. I can tell you our board challenges us, supports us at a high level, supports our team. It's really important that the board has good dialogue, that are really engaged, that they ask good questions, that they follow their board norms, that we support them in giving them accurate information, that they've determined policy and direction. And so we're just really unified as a board and as an administrative team in that regard. And that's critical for the entire success of the district. So we're really proud of the work that we've been able to engage in as a collective board team. Okay, so our reports were provided. I'm not going to go into details on reports. We do obviously have our high school graduation coming up. We briefly talked about that. Okay, we are going to be opening up an RFP for a new phone system, of it, voice over internet provider, internet protocol phone system. Joe Carlisle, our director of information and technology, will be putting out an RFP to request new quotes and bids for or proposals for replacing our entire phone system. Staff, this is a big deal. As you know, or maybe you don't know, we've had significant issues with our current provider. In particular, there's been a lot of delay and actually limited tech support. And some of the ways that manifests in a concerning manner is how that responds in terms of, we've had a lot of 911 calls that don't go out from the appropriate location, that don't communicate appropriately. While we are able to make the 911 calls, there's just a lot of glitches and errors in the system. So we are putting out a new RFP to solicit new phone systems. There is a high potential that we could be replacing phones as early as this summer. We'll go through the whole process. I think the tentative plan is to have an RFP in the bids ultimately approved and received at the June board meeting. But we're excited about that, excited about upgrading our system and making sure that we have a robust new phone system in place. Okay, the news our staff's all been waiting for. I know I've talked about this for multiple meetings, but to be able to finally say that salary schedules have been approved. They were approved last night, so we are really excited about that, to have that done. The approvals are We are adding a $2,000 increase to our base pay, raising it from $41,500 to $43,500. So we're going up $2,000 on our base teacher salary schedule. This represents a 4.819% increase to the base salary. And the overall average increase for the certified, including moving that step, the overall average of all that movement is 4.973%. Okay, so that is actually the new schedule percentage increase for all positions on average is 4.973%. So the board approved that last night. That's a really phenomenal salary increase. This communicates hopefully to you staff that we are being extremely competitive. I have a personal goal to get to 50,000 as a base pay as soon as possible. I'd love to see that happen within 5 years or less. That's going to require some aggressive moves, but we're going to be at 43.5. So that's really good news for our staff. We also have increased, the board has increased the differential that our specialized paras receive from 0.25 per hour to 0.3 per hour. So they've increased that to value our specialized paras because those are people, our workers who are in some of those most challenging and most difficult classrooms that are really there's just a lot going on in those rooms. So we did adjust that pay schedule. So the board approved our salary schedules. Amended contracts will be coming out to you from our office. We'll need to have you get those signed and returned. But we're excited to have salary schedules firmed up and ready to move forward as we were able to introduce kind of some preliminary budget numbers to the board. The board also approved our career ladder plan. We do plan on having career ladder next year. The state is telling us actually they have appropriated enough money to cover career ladder for next year. I know there's still budget work at the state level. I believe it's going through the House if it hasn't already. Hopefully we get all that's appropriated for career ladder, but the board approved a plan for next year. So that plan is getting rolled out in place. As you know, I think I've talked about a water agreement that we've been working on with the city of Reed Spring. We've been trying to figure out how to resolve some of these concerns and issues that we've had as we've explored other options with Branson West. We feel like Reed Spring is kind of stepping up to the table and making some big decisions. We appreciate that. We feel like our partnership with them is expanding. The board last night approved an agreement that we'll be presenting to the Reed Spring City Council shortly. The board approved an agreement with them and ordinance. We look forward to hopefully getting beyond any further issues as we've seen some positives in that regard from the city of Reed Springs. We appreciate them. And then finally, last but definitely not least, the board did approve pest control bids. They issued the winning bid to Eschery Extermination. We appreciate everyone who submitted a bid, and we'll move forward in that regard. That was our board meeting. We had a great board meeting. As you can see, a lot of good things are happening. The best thing that you can do is engage with our kids. Keep them actively engaged in school. We have until May 22nd to help these kids learn as much as they can. We want to encourage kids to go to summer school. You may be seeing some positive incentives for our kids to get there because that will help decrease the learning gap and help them retain more as they get ready for next year. But what a great school, what a great school year, what a great spring. Appreciate all that you do, and go Wolves.